Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Golden Astrologer Podcast. I am Deb McBride, and today is Sunday, the 5th of September in the year 2021. And I am broadcasting from lovely La Fortuna in Alajuela, Costa Rica. And right outside my window where I'm staying is the Arenal volcano. And it is a majestic presence. And the sun was just setting here a little while ago, and actually I saw a star in the sky above the volcano. And when I looked at the star to see what it was not just a star, it was Venus. So this is very exciting. Venus is outside above the Arenal volcano. I think this is very significant. It's a good sign, and it's very important. And so lots to talk about. First of all, volcanoes are very powerful features of nature, and as we all know. And when you are in the presence of a volcano, or any force of nature, really, you are picking up what we call codes or sacred geometry codes. Now, we are nature, and nature forms through sacred geometry, and volcanoes are nature, and trees are nature, and flowers are nature, and bugs are nature, and frogs and cats and dogs and everything else, obviously, are nature. But we are nature too. And so we tap into an incredibly different vibe when we are around things that are extremely powerful, such as volcanoes or ley lines under the earth. And I was explaining on my Instagram yesterday that, if you go to places like Stonehenge or Avebury or Glastonbury in England, or there are places in Sedona, they are all on ley lines, and the earth is very powerful there. So those also contain codes, and you want to be around very powerful life-supporting things, and volcanoes are transformative. They erupt, they come from deep within the earth, which is very Plutonian, and they burst forth with sparks and lava and deep, incredible power. Okay, so sometimes we have a volcano stirring within us. And one time, a few years ago, when I came to visit this beautiful volcano, and there are many volcanoes in Costa Rica, but this one has volcanic hot springs, and it's definitely a tourist site. But it is very powerful. And one time when I came to visit a few years ago, I went back to where I live in Escazú, where we don't have volcanoes right in Escazú, but you can see Poás not far away, the Poás volcano. And I was standing in my kitchen, and I was, drying dishes, and I said, wow, the energy from that volcano is really powerful. And just then the dish I was drying, it was a bowl actually, went flying out of my hand and hit the floor and smashed into a zillion pieces. And I thought, okay. And I even took a picture of it, because it was like just the thought of the volcano, just the statement of the volcano, just propelled a dish out of my hand. I mean, there's no reason on earth. I had both hands on it. One was with a towel. There's no reason why the dish would fly out of my hand, except that I was pulling forth and channeling this energy of Volcan Arenal. In any event, we are having some interesting, fascinating aspects to accompany this visit to the volcano. We are having some Venus action with Pluto, and Venus is squaring Pluto, and she's doing that this evening. And Venus and Pluto are an interesting pair. So that Venus that I just saw in the sky a little while ago is making a challenging relationship to Pluto. And she is, when she's with Pluto, we are calling forth the Persephone myth, or the sort of bringing the goddess into the underworld, or the goddess owning her power in the underworld and embracing her darkness. So Venus and Pluto are challenging one another. And Venus, Venus likes to be usually more gentle and sweet, especially when she's in her own sign of Libra, but she is getting herself entangled with the god of the underworld. And so this is naturally a place where she feels a little more vulnerable, but she could also feel very sexy. And she is definitely in a place where she is going to dive and delve into all the intense, deep, powerful emotions one goes through when one involves oneself with the underworld. Okay, so we aren't really having a full on Venus in Libra, oh, isn't that sweet experience. Now, the interesting thing is she is also, while she's squaring Pluto, she's moving into trine with Jupiter. And that's very, very nice. So she's squaring Pluto today, trining Jupiter tomorrow, and very early in the morning tomorrow in my region of the world. And so she's moving between Pluto and Jupiter, and so she's digging deep, and then hopefully coming out of the underworld with a present, with a surprise, with a happy ending, with a powerful, fortunate experience. Okay, so she's squaring Pluto today, trining, Jupiter tomorrow. And so she's really moving through, a few paces here. She's getting intense and maybe a little pissed off when she gets involved with Pluto. And then she reaches Jupiter and she's like, I know how to solve this, no problem. And so she can release and let go. Now, if you find yourself getting agitated tonight, you can be sure that the thing that agitates you is going to work its way through tomorrow, or you're going to find a way to navigate through this and work your way through it tomorrow. And, it is important to sort of note how you're feeling, what you're doing, what Venus, Pluto brings up for you. Oftentimes it brings up triangles. Oftentimes it brings up deep creativity and, ideas and things. Oftentimes it brings forward, like uncomfortable emotions because, Venus is emotional, and she's sort of opening up the door to her own vulnerability, and maybe speaking her truth, Jupiter, as she moves through her vulnerability. So maybe what happens for you is you feel it, it's deep, it's intense, and then you find a way to verbally express it, whether on the page, whether to another person, whether just to yourself in the room. Because remember, Venus is in an air sign. She's squaring Pluto in an earth sign. And so she's going deep into the core of the earth, much like the volcano outside my window with Venus above it. And she's connecting with her anger, sensitivity, sexiness, desire, her inner tigress, And then she is moving into a trine with Jupiter, and whatever has been boiling under the surface is going to come out and say, oh, okay, let's talk about this. So let's communicate it. Both Venus and Jupiter are in air signs. So this makes things a little easier for the communication. And if you're not a communicative sort, if you're one of those people that doesn't necessarily communicate, maybe you've got lots of water in your chart and you hold things in, or you're sensitive, or you feel things more than you verbalize them, this should help move things out through the written word, the spoken word. So that's one thing we have going on. Now, tomorrow is a big deal new moon. And that's not going to be, for till the afternoon, later in the afternoon to evening in my region of the world. And when that happens, like the new moon's going to happen, Then the moon is going to speak sweetly in a trine to Uranus, and then the sun is going to speak sweetly in a trine to Uranus. And so this is more intense outer planet energy. The sun and the moon are coming together, and they are making a very strong aspect to Uranus, which is in Taurus. Now, the sun and the moon are in Virgo. This is more Earth. So what's been happening is these days is like we've been gearing up for this new moon, and it's always the dark phase of the moon, before we have the new moon, before the light starts to come back. So we're in the dark, you're looking around for the moon. Where's the moon? Oh, there is no moon right now because it's going to be new. And the sun and the moon are coming together at a point where they are making a very strong trine to Uranus. So there's more churning, there's more excitement, there's more, but it's not agitating. Last time we had new moons and things making aspects to Uranus, they were in Leo and they were harder aspects. But this is not doing that. This is making a much smoother aspect to Uranus, and therefore what we need to transform is going to be a lot simpler and more straightforward. Now, this is all happening, this trine is happening as Venus is trining Jupiter. So we've got a lot of really interesting aspects. Tomorrow's a really interesting day because not only is Venus, okay, she's moving from the square to Pluto and she's trining Jupiter, and then we have this new moon trining Uranus, sorry. So there's been a lot of action these days, okay? And we'll get to what I was talking about the other night on Instagram as well on Thursday. So what's happening is Venus talks to Pluto, then she talks to Jupiter, then Mars is at the same time, Mars, which is in Virgo, along with the sun and the moon. Mars is talking to Pluto. So while Venus may be having a harder time with Pluto, Mars is in Virgo having an easier time with Pluto, which he has been for the last few days. And he's been gearing up for this big trine with Pluto, which is exact tomorrow morning. And it's around, when you're getting up in the morning in my region of the world. In any case, Mars is really, speaking to Pluto, and they're buddies, they're buddies. They both rule Scorpio. Those are the guys. Those are the sexy guys, okay? Mars and Pluto, and they're like, yeah, these women, look at that Venus. She's all girly and Libra, and she's, thinks she's hot stuff, and then she talks to Pluto, and she knows she's hot stuff, and then she goes and she trines Jupiter, and she and Jupiter are having a very nice conversation, which I can't say that Mars is having with Jupiter just yet anyway. So Mars and Pluto are like the guys in the cigar bar, or it used to be the cigar bar. And Venus and Jupiter are having a conversation. So this is very interesting because Mars and Venus are relationship planets, and they are each having their own conversation with Pluto. And they are each having a nice conversation with one of the planets, right? So like Venus and Jupiter, and then Mars and Pluto. And so relationships are paramount right now. We are thinking about relationships. We are moving through relationships. We are examining relationships, and we are owning our stuff in relationships. And that would be also Venus, Pluto, really sort of coming to terms with things that are potentially a little intense for us. And while this is going on, the sun and the moon are making a trine to Uranus. Now, trines, we have trines all over the place. Trines are very smooth aspects of 120 degrees. Think about the triangles, the equilateral triangles. Think about triangles from geometry class, and think about how smooth the energy is right now between signs that are similar or that are in the same element, okay? So we've got a lot of earth energy, lots of earth energy right now. So Pluto has been Capricorn for a long time, Uranus is in Taurus a long time, and now there are 3 planets in Virgo. Lots of earth. So there's a lot of practicality in the air. And so manifestation, or what you want to manifest, is really, really important right now, because this is earth. It's earth. It's what you want to bring into your hand and hold it. And that's what the earth is. You put your hands in the earth. It's you put your feet on the ground. This is about something that you are trying to manifest, or what you would like to manifest. Now, since Uranus is in Taurus, this is like, oh, you want to manifest something? Poof, here it is. Because Uranus and Taurus is, even though Taurus is kind of a more methodical, slow-moving sign, when we start zipping things around like we've got a new moon, injecting energy into that, well, hey, that's like, all right, what do you want? Great. All right, let's have it. And in the meantime, Mars is going to Pluto. Hey, well, what do you want? All right, let's have it. Boom. Venus to Jupiter. What do you want? Okay, boom, let's have it. This is lots of trines, lots of energy that says, I can flow through this and navigate this really, really easily. And it's phenomenal to think about this, because there's all sorts of trines tomorrow. There's the conjunction of the sun and the moon, which is the new moon, of course. But there's it's just so phenomenal to look at this new moon and say, okay, if I put my finger on exactly what I want, and you got to be specific. You know how particular Virgos are. They have their energy where they're like, no, it needs to be this. This is the time to be specific. They're ruled by Mercury. Mercury's details. Now, Mercury is in Libra right now, which is Venus's sign. But what we are looking at very importantly is the new moon making that conversation with Uranus. And Uranus is the magician. Uranus is the magical planet. It's like, okay, wave your magic wand. Boom, here it is. And, it's like I conjured that up. So whatever you want to conjure up right now is really important. You rarely see this. You don't see all sorts of trines and things happening all at the same time to outer planets, to planets that are as fortunate as Jupiter. We don't get this very often. So make a big fat wish, or better yet, make like 3 big fat wishes, and sit down with yourself and know exactly what you want. Mercury, the planet that rules the new moon, is in Libra. Like I said, it speaks to Venus, which is in her own sign. She's ruling the heavens. Okay. Neptune's ruling the heavens for a long time because it's in Pisces. Okay. But Venus is really ruling the heavens on right now. So the new moon speaks to Mercury. Mercury speaks to Venus. It's like playing telephone. Remember, one person whispers in somebody's ear, the other one whispers in the other person's ear. Venus will hear your prayer, your wish, your manifestation. Talk to Jupiter about it, and poof, there it is. So this is a very interesting aspect. Now, Mars and Pluto get sexy. Venus gets sexy with Pluto too, and then even, she feels a little more loose with Jupiter. And be careful, again, with the overindulgence. I bought a lot of chocolate today. There's like these chocolate factories and chocolate plantations, cacao plantations here in Fortuna, and there's always lots of chocolate tours to go on, and places that sell this beautiful chocolate. And if you want really good chocolate, you come to Fortuna. Costa Rica has really good chocolate generally, but this is one of those places where you get really good chocolate. So Venus Jupiter manifested in my life as like I did a little overindulgence in the chocolate realm, and good chocolate, not like junky chocolate, right? And not chocolate that's full of chemicals and stuff like that, and too much sugar and takes away from the chocolate. Really rich, deep, dark. Actually, I bought some 100% chocolate, not 75% chocolate, not milk chocolate, 100% chocolate. And there's Venus Jupiter for me. So if you're in the mood to overindulge, make sure it's something like a little healthy. A little healthy chocolate can be very good for you too. And so, and it's also, Venus Jupiter is also going to make you want to spend some money. Now, it's an air sign, so you'll probably think about it before you actually do it. If it was water, you'd just be like, oh, okay, whatever, la-di-da. But there's not a lot of water in the sky right now. There is Neptune in Pisces, but there's not a lot of water. We've got air and we've got earth, and there's really not so much fire. There's Chiron and Aries. But okay, here's what I was talking about on Thursday night on my Instagram, which is that back that day, Mars was opposite Neptune, which is very juicy and a little sexy and very mysterious and a bit exhausting. And I was definitely exhausted on Thursday, and maybe you were too. And it could be a little slippery too, like Mars is not at its best when it's in opposition to Neptune. The energy of Mars wants to assert, wants to focus, wants to be direct, especially when it's in an earth sign like Virgo. Then we get involved with Neptune, is like, wow, what happened? Huh? What happened? I don't understand. Like, what am I trying to do here? And things slip out of your hands and time slips away. And sometimes you really have to put your feet on the ground with Mars so that Neptune doesn't just take the current, just doesn't take you right out into the ocean. And so that was really important to pay attention to on Thursday. But the moon was in Cancer on Thursday. And Luna, she was opposing Pluto. So there was this other sexy, juicy configuration going on, kind of mysterious, because Mars and Neptune are mysterious when they get together, and the moon and Pluto are mysterious when they get together. And Moon and Mars were talking sweetly to each other in a sextile. So we had some interesting energy going on Thursday that was sensitive, that was juicy, that was smooth, that was transformative in a way that you wouldn't necessarily expect, because, well, the moon opposes Pluto every month, but Mars doesn't usually get involved in that dance. And lately when the moon is opposing Pluto, she's making a sweet trine to Neptune. So there's this air of mystery when the moon is out and she's doing her lunar thing, where the energy of the moon and the night is mysterious and deep and rich. And so when we get Mars involved, it's like, so things were a little sexy the other night. So, okay, good. Well, and that energy kind of continues, even though the moon has moved on into very practical Virgo, which is more like get the job done, folks, as opposed to it's in Cancer. Let's make a nice rich meal and cozy up at home and cuddle. This is we're getting the job done, and we are manifesting what we need, what we desire, what we want. And so it's important to look at those things. It's important to pay attention to all of that. Now, Mercury is getting ready to go into his shadow, because he's going to retrograde later in the month of September. And when he retrogrades on the 26th, he's going to, I told you last week or so that he's going to be in the sign of Libra for 2 months. So he went in earlier in the month, a few days ago, and he actually went in August. Yeah, he went in at the end of August, and he's staying there until like the 5th of November. And that's a long time for Mercury to be in a sign. So he's getting ready to do his work. Now, when I say shadow, that means that's where he's going to turn around on October 18th. And he's going to retrograde at 25 Libra, which means he's going to be squaring Pluto. And as I mentioned last week, that's one long square. That's not like, oh, yeah, he's squaring, and then bye-bye. And a month later, he comes back and squares. No, he's going to be squaring for like a week, and there's going to be 2 exact squares in that, 2 exact times, and then he's going to leave and go on his merry way and come back later on. But Mercury is going into his shadow, and when I say shadow, I'm talking about the time where he is going to go direct. So that's about 10, 11 degrees of Libra, and he's going there now. He's going there tomorrow at the new moon, when we've got all this action-packed astrology happening. And so when Mercury is figuring out that he's, now going into the shadow phase, which is what we're going to see as Mercury eventually gets ready to turn around to come direct again in October, we are looking at the space in which he goes retrograde, meaning he's going to 10 degrees. He's going to go back all the way back to 10 degrees once he's retrograde and turn around at that. So that's what we call the shadow. The shadow is the period or the space in the zodiac where Mercury's going to visit a couple of times and turn around and go direct. So we're entering that space tomorrow. So we're already like starting to feel that retrograde, if that makes more sense to say it that way. But what's happening is all of this business, all of these trines, and all of this, interesting stuff is going on at the same time that Mercury is getting ready to do this. And as Mercury is moving, Mercury's not moving as fast as he normally does. He zipped through Virgo, his own sign, in like 2.5 weeks. He's not doing that this time. It's more like, it's almost 2.5 months he's going to be in Libra. And so when he's doing this little dance, he's getting ready to tell us, okay, I'm going to start slowing down, and I'm going to start crawling through Libra instead of zipping on through. It's going to take him, not very long. He's going to turn around at like 24, 25. Tomorrow he's going to be 10. It's going to take him very long time to get to that place where he turns retrograde, which means he is starting to move more slowly. So we do well to pay attention to this, okay? Pay attention to what's happening at this jazzy new moon where we've got incredible energy happening, okay? So Mercury is going to grant some wishes, probably, as it moves forward in the sky on October 18th, which is the same day that Jupiter moves forward in the sky. Okay, October is a very interesting month. Now, think about this. Big, powerful stuff's happening in the sky around relationships, around manifestation, around what we want, around wishing upon something powerful. And Mercury is saying, okay, I'm going to go, on my merry way and figure all of this out during the retrograde. And boom, when I turn direct, if your wish hasn't come true by then, by the time Mercury goes direct, I wouldn't be surprised if some major stuff shifts forward for all of us. And in a good way, because, there's going to be 4 planets shifting direction, going direct in October, in those first days of October. And by the time the 18th rolls around, we're going to be like rolling in new energy, okay? So what we've got happening tomorrow is major. Sit down with yourself, take some time, close your eyes, rest, and ask your soul what its deepest desires are. And I learned that from someone I'm working with. But we should always be asking our soul what our deepest desires are. And tomorrow's a really important day to ask your soul what its deepest desires are, because you can make them happen very soon. And it doesn't take much. Once you shift that energy, once you make up your mind to connect with that, what your deepest desires are, here you are. You're going to get what you want. A little scary to get what you want, isn't it? Yeah. It's like, what do you mean I'm going to get what I want? How could I possibly get what I want? Well, you'll be surprised. You have to be focused. You have to put yourself in the energy. You have to feel it. Okay? You have to feel it. And that's what most of life is based on. Feeling it. Okay? Do you, and this is really important. Do you feel it? Like, do I want to buy this house? Am I feeling it? I don't know. Do I want this relationship? Am I feeling it? Do I want this job? Am I feeling it? Do I want to buy that car? Am I feeling it? Is it in alignment? Are you feeling the connection to what it is you want? You've got to feel it. In acting and stage work and singing, they got to feel it. They're like, they've got it. Like there's a moment, in comedy, they've got to feel it. Like anybody who's got to get up on stage, they're feeling it or they're going to miss the moment. So are you feeling it? What are you feeling? And what are you aligning with? So it's really important to get clear on what you're aligning with right now, because when that new moon comes tomorrow evening, it is so going to push us forward. Okay? And don't let that go. Don't let go. Don't say, I wish I could have this. I wish I could have that like turquoise blue convertible or whatever it is you want, or that handsome, beautiful soul that I want, or that ton of chocolate I just bought. Maybe whatever it is that you're manifesting, make sure you're very clear about it. Don't just go, I want that turquoise blue convertible, and then say, oh yeah, a couple of weeks from now, I forgot about that turquoise blue convertible. No. That turquoise blue convertible is tattooed on your brain, in your heart, okay? So check in with your heart, check in with your soul. What is it that you want? And make it happen, because we've got to be real clear on this one, okay? In other worlds, this week, the other worlds, Venus will move out of Libra. She will move into Scorpio on the 10th, which is Friday in the afternoon in my region of the world. And, she's not her best in Scorpio. She's okay. I mean, it's a water sign, sure, but she's, she may not feel like she's doing her most favorite things when she's in Scorpio. So she gets a little edgy in Scorpio. She's sexy there, but she's a little edgy. And eventually she'll meet up with Uranus, and that's not for a few weeks yet. They'll be opposite. But what's really important, that's why now, don't say on Friday, you know what, I think I know what I want. Figure it out now, because you don't want Venus and Scorpio to miss the boat here. We want to get that Venus and Libra trining Jupiter. She's part of this big mix tomorrow, So it's really creative, really important, really, really, really vital to get clear on your vision, what you want, exactly what it is. And remember, Virgos are precise. Okay? So the more precise you are, the more you feel that precision, the more you're going to get what you want. And what Dr. Joe Dispenza always says is you marry an elevated emotion with your intention. So you have this intention, but you marry it with an elevated emotion. Elevated emotion is gratitude, joy, love, freedom. Okay? Gratitude is a big one, because if you say to yourself, I want that turquoise blue convertible and it's parked in my driveway and I am grateful for that car parked in my driveway, you know what? It will be, because you're already grateful for something that you may say, well, I don't have it yet. Gratitude is the essence of receivership. Okay, it's the very essence of receivership. If we're grateful for something, you say thank you. Someone gives you something, they give you a gift. You say, oh, thank you very much. If you are grateful for something that, you want to have happen in your life, and you just say, I'm grateful for that convertible. Well, you know what? That's what happens. And of course, that's a metaphor. That convertible is a metaphor. Not everybody wants one. Um, in the meantime, Mercury on Tuesday will oppose Chiron. So, you know, see to it that your wounds and your health and your well-being are being taken care of. Rest when you need to. As far as the moon is concerned, it is right this moment. It is in Virgo as I speak, and it is moving into Libra later in the evening on Tuesday. So it's going to be in Virgo because we know we're having that new moon. But it will be void 3:24 p.m. Eastern time, go into Libra 11:20 p.m. on Tuesday night. So you got the rest of the afternoon, evening, and that's that it's void. It'll be in Libra Wednesday. It'll be in Libra Thursday. And then it's going to go void, of course, in Libra, 12:48 a.m. Eastern time on Friday. So, it's almost 1 a.m. on Friday. So it's going to enter Scorpio 2 o'clock in the morning on Friday. And so we don't have to worry too much about that. But then, it's going into Scorpio, and then Venus is going into Scorpio later that afternoon on Friday, as I mentioned. Then Saturday it will be in Scorpio all day, and then not go void until 1:30 a.m. Sunday morning when Eastern time. And by that time, we'll be meeting again next Sunday. So the only planet, other than the moon, which always changes signs, the only planet really changing signs this week is Venus. And she's going into Scorpio. So lots to think about. The new moon is the highlight of the week. All the trines around that happening at the same time. Some major stuff is going on. And when we enjoy this new moon, we want to make sure that we do our manifestation homework. So whenever you listen to this, make sure you sit down with yourself and write out what you want or get very clear on what that is. Remember, exactitude is the name of the game here. We're dealing with Virgo. Okay, that's about it. I thank you so much for listening as I sit here with the Arenal volcano outside my window. And we shall meet again next week. In the meantime, my website is thegoldenastrologer.com. My Instagram is The Golden Astrologer. My Twitter is @DebAstrology. And if you'd like a session with me, you can book a session on my website, thegoldenastrologer.com, book online. And any questions, comments, just reach me on Instagram or at The Golden Astrologer, which is info@thegoldenastrologer.com. And I thank all who have reached out. Gratitude to everyone who has listened. And I wish you a beautiful week and a beautiful new moon.